Okay, we're back. Talk more about soil structure. And this time we're going to talk about kind of particular patterns of soil structure that form inside the soil. So we'll try to keep it brief. But basically, there's some different kind of terms that soil scientists use to kind of communicate the overall shape of the different soil aggregates that tend to form within different soils. And this is going to be influenced by the type of soil, right? Is it a clay-like soil, maybe a vertisol? Is it a really organic, rich type soil? What kind of living organisms are within the soil? What's the climate like, etc. So one type of soil structure is sometimes referred to as a spheroidal soil. This is also sometimes called a granular soil. And this is kind of like a crumb-like soil where the aggregates are pretty small, they're relatively circular. And this tends to form in kind of high organic matter soils, like in the A horizon or the top horizon. And this is probably something that you've seen before. So soil scientists would refer to this as a spheroid or granule type of soil structure. The next type is called platy or plate-like soil structure. And this, instead of being more circular, has these really flat plate-like or horizontal beds or aggregates within the soil. And this is more likely to form in subsurface horizons, so it can form in surface horizons as well. And it often has to do with the kind of inherent structure of the parent material. So this would come usually from the parent material that had really distinct layering from depositional events or from or just from like pressure systems, metamorphic processes in rocks. And so if you can think about like a slaty type of rock or a shale type of rock that had these really flat layers in it, as that parent material starts to break down to form soil, often we'll see kind of that horizontal layered patterning exists within actually the soil structure itself. So that's a platy or plate-like soil. Then a blocky soil is often something that you're going to see a little bit deeper down in the soil. And so it's a similar type of shape that we would see with the granular soil, but a bigger size. So we would more likely see this down in the B horizon where there's more clay. And this often especially forms in more humid climates. And this can lead to fast drainage and better root penetration in the areas where it forms. And then finally, prismatic is basically where we have these kind of really vertical structures in the soil. So you guessed it, things like vertisols often lead to this prismatic structure. And then you can see kind of the hammer for scale. So these are these big columnar, column-like structures that form in the soil, typically, again, down in the subsurface horizons, maybe associated with sodium in the soil as well. And usually associated with lots of clay. So that's another structure. And then here's just some pictures of what this actually looks like, more, I don't know, not in black and white. And so you can see these kind of granular structures. You can see blocky, which is kind of like granular, but bigger. Sometimes massive is like, and just another word for blocky, but sometimes even bigger. Platy are these more flat structures. And then we didn't talk about this, but single grain is when the soil is just really not very well aggregated. And this is usually having to do with like not poor land management, like breaking down of aggregation through over-tilling, through application of chemical products that can lead to the breakdown of soil aggregates, or this might just form in certain environments like sand dunes where there's not a lot of aggregation of the soils due to low organic matter, low clay, etc. So anyway, these are some different kinds of soil structures that you'll hear people talk about. Okay, that's a good stopping point.